Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Junk to Jules podcast with Georgette Beck. I am so excited to be here today. I can't wait to introduce you to our guest. Thank you for watching and for listening. And just a reminder, Junk to Jules, A Journey from Brokenness to Despair and Beauty and Delight is available at Amazon. So if you have not had your copy yet, go grab that at Amazon. And let's dive right in. I'm going to introduce you to Gigi Langer. 37 years, I think it's now, because when I looked at her book, it says 30 years, but I think it's a lot longer. But she used to use alcohol, romance, and professional accomplishments to soothe her frayed nerves. After she quit drinking, she found that she had a serious thinking problem. Over time, she's discovered effective tools for therapy, recovery programs, scientific research, and a variety of philosophical and spiritual teachings to find peace and wisdom and hope no matter what is going on in her life. So she's formally crowned the Queen of Worry. She's resigned from that post, and now she lives happily ever after with her wonderful husband, Peter, and her cat, Murphy. And although she hasn't had a drug or drink for over 37 years, she does overindulge, and I love this one, in Ghirardelli chocolate, because me too, I love Ghirardelli chocolate, and historical novels. Welcome to the show, Gigi. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm so glad to see you again.
Oh my gosh, we had the pleasure of meeting at the Sunshine State Book Festival here in Florida, right? That was awesome.
And God put us
right next to each other.
Next to each other.
I love it. We call that serendipity. I call it serendipity kind of thing, synchronicity. It was over 200 authors in the room, and Gigi and I sat right next to each other, and I got her book here, 50 Ways to Worry Less Now. Oh my gosh, I can't wait till you talk about that. But first, I want to hear, I like to ask, so where are you from? And share about your family a little bit and just start talking us through your journey, Gigi.
Sure. Well, I grew up in the western suburbs of Chicago, and I was the youngest of four, and my father was a pretty active alcoholic, but high functioning. And so my mom was constantly worried about him, and he was really her higher power. She had made her whole life around him. So she didn't have a lot of emotional energy left, especially for the youngest, when the older kids could kind of step in. But I did witness them throwing things across the room and so on. And I kind of gained this, I'll talk about these whispered lies that live in our minds that tell us negative things. And one of the first ones was, I'm never going to be safe because there's so much chaos going on.
Correct.
And so that launched me on a lifelong search for safety, comfort, security.
Yeah.
And the first thing I found was school. I was smarter than my sisters and brothers. Supposedly, I got better grades. So that was like a big, so who has all these degrees, right? I do.
Right. Yeah, you have a PhD from Stanford University.
Yeah. So, that, like many whispered lies, that one was, I can't be loved unless I perform at a very high level.
Correct.
There's a plus side and a minus side. And so they do help us gain some goals.
Yes,
but
true.
The cost in anxiety and fear and just that whole ball of wax of trying to control everything so that I can feel more secure was just
absolutely
a really bad side effect. Well, the next thing I discovered was boys, right? Oh, boy. And all the love songs.
Yeah.
Oh, and the pick and
romance.
It was going to be just like that.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with the first. I'm happily married now to Peter. He is my fourth husband, and we've been together 35 years.
I love that.
Yeah, and I've been sober as of this point, 39, but
wow,
39 years.
Woo!
So the first man I married, I just fell in love. And I won't go through all the marriages, but basically every time I was pretending to be what I thought I should be to be a woman in love. And of
Yeah.
course, following in my mother's footsteps, I just made pleasing my husband my whole goal. So that didn't work because after 3 or 4 years, I'd get really angry that my needs weren't being
Correct.
taken care of, or he didn't
Yeah.
love me enough. Because remember,
Right.
I had that whispered lie, no one will ever love me enough.
Right.
So I would prove
Wow.
it to myself and leave. And then I'd find the next one. And this was in the 70s. There's people being much freer with romance and so on.
Yes.
So found the next one. And we traveled a lot together. He worked for IBM. So we had these wonderful places to live. But that
Yes.
was basically, let's get married so we can get the benefits from IBM. So we dissolved that after 4 years. And then I
Wow.
met the one that I thought was the one. I was in grad
Right.
school by that time. And he lived in Michigan. So I moved to Michigan. And mind you, this is the mistake that so many of us, maybe just in my generation, I don't know, made, but fell in love fast.
Yes.
Got married fast every time. Oh, met the guy in February, moved to Michigan in August, married in November, and he traveled a lot. I didn't know anyone in Michigan. Oh, and by the way, how did I get through grad school? Well,
And
I had the whispered lie. If I don't perform at a high level,
yeah.
I won't be loved. Well, my Lord, at Stanford in a psychological studies program, there were all these really smart people and tons of statistics courses and famous professors.
Oh, yeah.
I thought, what in the world am I doing here? So before I met the man in Michigan during grad school, I met a guy, went to watch a horse race in a bar, met a guy, didn't marry him, but lived with him. And he grew his own marijuana, and we'd meet at a bar every night. And that is how I dealt with the stress of grad school. I made it through
Yes.
because I didn't use during the day, but the anxiety was so high.
Right. Yeah.
But I, again, like many things, I gained a wonderful mentor. And actually, she was the first person I kind of asked, why was she so peaceful? And she was a student of A Course in Miracles.
Oh,
not-
that's interesting.
Yeah, which is not necessarily Bible-based. And yet
Yeah.
it is, for me, it ended up being
Yeah.
an entry point into the heart
Yeah.
of Jesus. So it worked for me.
That's significant.
Yeah. So
And that
when
you
I
had the courage to ask.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I got to Michigan with this third husband, I had left Stanford, and I didn't know what to do with myself. Now I had an academic job, and the stress of that. Here, this
Yes.
little, Eastern Michigan University hires this little person from Stanford, right? I'm supposed to be the big fish in the small pond. Oh, my Lord. And I was probably obnoxious.
Oh, so much.
I was,
pressure.
35 years old. And I was but anyway, that stress was really difficult. And my husband, my third husband at that time, traveled a lot. So what did Gigi start doing?
Wow.
I started going out to bars alone.
Yeah, because you were
And-
by yourself and it got lonely.
And
And
picking up men, strangers, some of whom I went home with,
Yeah.
and then ended up telling a bundle of lies to my husband. Sometimes, I don't know how many episodes of that there were, but I would say by 1985, I had scared the heck out of myself. And I actually did it one time when he was not out of town, and then really had to tell a bunch of lies. So I thought, I need help.
Yeah.
And
It
I
was
went to a
building.
psychologist. I said, I've got this fabulous degree and great job,
Yes.
and I have this third marriage and a seedy little private secret nasty life that is
Right.
grossing me out, and I can't stop it.
Yeah.
And I had tried several times to become a Christian. I was in Young Life in high school. My family had
Right.
no faith at all. I got myself baptized. They didn't come to the church.
Oh my
I
God.
tried again, Campus Crusade for Christ. That I
Yes.
didn't really get on with that. Of course, I was experimenting with sex, so I felt so guilty. I couldn't.
Yeah.
And then one time, shortly before I went to the psychologist, I went to a church service and went up and said, I'm giving it all up, and went home and flushed all the marijuana down the toilet. But then I was back to it. So that's when I went to the psychologist, and he said, you're in the early stages of alcoholism. Your father was an alcoholic. If you want to know if you have a problem, try having 2 drinks, no more, no less.
Yes.
And let's do that for the next month or 2. You keep coming to see me. And he didn't push me in any direction. I did notice that he had Unity Church is a very open kind of Christianity. And he had that little daily word in his waiting room. And I thought, oh, that's, well, at first I thought, oh, that's, and then I thought, oh, that's Unity. So I did the experiment. Wow. Sometimes after 2 drinks, I could stop.
I think he made the right move with you, Gigi, and not pushing you, because you already took a big giant step in showing up and vulnerable and saying, I need help. The fact that he was like gentle and I have an experiment for you, that was very smart.
Yes,
and
it was.
Did the experiment. And what happened, Gigi?
Well, what was confusing, and I think this might be helpful to other people, I'd have 2 drinks, and sometimes I'd have the 3rd and the 4th and close the bar and pick somebody up. Or sometimes I'd have 2 drinks and stop. And I wouldn't make myself stop. I just stopped. So how could I be an alcoholic, right?
Yeah.
If I could stop sometimes. That wasn't fitting the normal pattern. But the point was, I could never predict if I had 2 drinks, whether I would stop or whether I would keep going.
That's a big point.
Drive drunk and do something dangerous.
Correct.
So ultimately, I proved to myself that if I had 2 drinks, I had no idea what I was going to do. And it was likely going to be dangerous. Huh. And that's when he said, well, what do you think about going to a 12-step program? I know one for professionals and this and that. Later, I found out he was in the same 12-step program.
He knew those signs.
Yeah, so I had gone to the right guy, right?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. That's important for people to realize that when you are seeking and asking for help, you're going to be led.
Yeah.
In a good way. Yeah.
My 3rd husband had been going to Al-Anon, which is for the loved ones of alcoholics, whether it's a brother, sister, parent, whatever. And that helps you connect with a higher power and God and find a source to not try to control them. I didn't know he had been doing that. But one night...
Oh, my goodness gracious.
But he had been a counselor. He knew.
Yes.
Anyway, he said to me one night, what if this was your last drink? I was drinking a beer. It just came out of his mouth. That was completely a God moment. Wow. Because I thought, yeah, this could be. And the next day we went to a meeting, my first AA meeting, where there was an Al-Anon meeting right next door for the loved ones. And that's when there is something that God has used in the 12 steps for those of us who've been so lost. Yeah. And I could feel it when I walked in the room.
Yeah.
And this is 1986. There's all these old guys smoking cigarettes, not many women. And still, when they told their stories, I could relate. And when they talked about having hope and that there was a power greater than themselves, and I didn't have to call it anything that I didn't want to. I didn't have to accept any particular conception, just my own at that point.
Yes.
Was very helpful.
Yeah.
Very helpful. So I stayed. I never had another drink. I never had marijuana again.
And was that the time? That's the 39 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. I don't know.
So for you, it was the one and done?
Yeah, that's right.
So I also am familiar with this program because in my book, I talk about the journey. And sometimes we don't know what family dynamics we come from. We don't understand that lingo. We don't even know to ask. Generational repeat, what's that? And I found out when I went through my divorce, one of the first programs God brought to me, I think it was free counseling from a nonprofit. So I had a counselor. And then I don't know how I found myself in a room with Al-Anon. I did. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I was hearing things. These people felt familiar. I was like, they're speaking my language. No one, oh my gosh, these people are speaking like where I had come from. And it was like a light bulb moment where, oh, no wonder I'm acting this way. No wonder they acted that way. No wonder. And my mom, her part of her journey at this same time too, she was going to Al-Anon too. And she also went to AA because she wanted to do both. Like she wanted to get it all, the information. And my dad years ago, he had said to us, I have a drinking problem, and he stopped drinking way back when. So,
Wow.
but God is very much, for me, I call him my higher power, God. And I was a little girl when that became a reality, but and then now Celebrate Recovery, fast forward, that's a group that also I found my way in, because hurts, habits, and hangups is all of us in one way or another. But Gigi, well, praise God. And
Absolutely.
praise God, because it's only God that delivers us from those strongholds, from those things we couldn't change.
Right. And I was very kind of skeptical I was wary of Jesus. I thought, I don't want to. And I had, and my brother and his wife are born again Christians. And I know they were praying for me during that time. They had come to Palo Alto and seen. Yeah. And now I realize, it was slow coming to know Jesus. And it's been fairly recent. I went through A Course in Miracles. My first sponsor turned out to be a student of A Course in Miracles, just serendipity.
Again,
my mentor there, I went to Unity Church, where they were very open about how they thought about things. They didn't push anyone. And that allowed me to let God into my heart. And my first affirmation, which busted the old whispered lies, was, my worth is established by God.
Oh, I love that. My worth is established by God.
I didn't need to build it myself to be worthy.
Yeah. I'm like you, Gigi, firstborn too, but performance. When family members don't have those emotional abilities because people before them didn't know how to talk, it was the straight A's, atta girl, follow rules, be the good girl, atta girl, achiever. Yeah, those are things some of us are familiar with. So
Sure. And I think it's really spiritual growth, but it's recovering from our old whispered lies. It might have come from a family where there was just so much distraction that we didn't get the affirmation and love that we felt we needed. It could be a relationship in our adulthood that was abusive, but these lies get installed and then they keep going around and around.
Absolutely.
And pretty soon I realized, like it said in your intro, that I never needed to drink or use marijuana again, but basically I had a thinking problem. And that's something that in the 12 steps we talk about. It's the thinking is what makes us anxious.
Yes.
It's not, I'm anxious and then I'm going to think my way through it. It's the opposite. And then to get the concept that I have complete control as I'm willing to access God's power to change my thinking. God will change that for me. And that's step 7. It's like, I am so sick and tired of being competitive. I'm so sick and tired of thinking that I'm not lovable. And those things
I keep shaking my head, but some of those we're just listening, can't see. Like,
And it's that sweet surrender. And what's great was the first surrender was with alcohol. Then I started hanging around with people that went to adult children of alcoholics, 12-step meetings and Al-Anon. And then I hit a bottom with those characteristics that had been driving the bus. First, alcohol was driving the bus in my life. Then the perfectionism, the competitiveness.
Yeah.
And then later I found out there had been some inappropriate touching, right? Just barely over the edge, but enough to, I think, get me into being a little more promiscuous than I would have been maybe.
Okay.
So I went through another layer of healing
Yes.
with that whole thing. Found a new therapist who was the perfect one. She had a sexual healing group. God brings us each layer as long as we stick close.
And I was just going to say, in my journey too, like, he doesn't do it all at once, because that sets us up for failure. He's so gentle, so loving, so kind, and he's not judging. It's in love. I'm going to help you. He wants to heal us because he loves us. He wants to teach us and show us truth, things that we need to be aware of. And it's layer by layer, and it's so gentle, and each layer has its own time frame. And just when to bring the next one. And I call it too, a spiritual mama told me, it's like an onion.
Yes.
The layers, and then when you're healed, they fall off. And then he goes deeper, and then he goes deeper. It's so beautiful. It's hard. It's hard work. Let's not discount that.
Right. And it can't be done alone.
No. It's community all the way, with God, faith, absolutely.
With other people who are a little farther down the journey, who've suffered the same kinds of whispered lies I have, and crashes and burns. That was a key thing. And I was a loner. I had my main man and a girlfriend that I smoked dope with for years. That was it. I wasn't going to join any of those groups. Then I walked.
Oh, you and your, from Stanford, PhD girl.
Right.
Yeah. I love it.
I remember the moment when some people who took me to Unity Church, and all those people were perfectly placed for my next step.
Absolutely.
He and his wife said to me, I can see the light in you.
Aww.
Now, I came in feeling that I was just awful, bad person, guilty, shame.
Yeah.
And to have that sense, that divine spark.
Yes.
To have people see that in me, and I can see it in other people, and then pretty soon it kind of burns away. Yeah. I have to say, discovering those layers is not always fun.
No.
And step 6 and 7, we do the inventory.
Yeah.
And then we have
that was one of the first things during my divorce. Here I'm in the mix of it. You understand, a broken relationship, you're in a lot of pain, and you're in a very vulnerable place. And I was meeting those kinds of people.
Yeah.
And then as you get healthier, you start to see a little better, and you attract a little better. But that was the first thing he brought me to. Is I wasn't in the program then, but he brought me forgiveness. You have to forgive other people. And that included myself. And I was the last person to forgive, because it was all my fault. This marriage was broken, and I was so messed up, because that's what I was messed up. I was the messed up one. And no, all these dynamics had nothing to do with me later in life. How people behave towards you is they had their own stuff going on.
Sure.
And we didn't know that. So, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Well, I made a couple of notes. Go ahead.
No, go.
I made a couple of notes about things in the book, and you mentioned, I was thinking of self-compassion, which is one of the things in the book, hard. Because we tend to be so hard on ourselves. Yes, and then when I can't fix it, I tried this way, I tried that way. That's that beautiful moment of surrender that comes with our character flaws in step 6. And I remember I had a lot of chronic pain. It was almost like I was so used to emotional pain that I had this chronic pain from anxiety and so on that I'd never had before. I was in my early 40s, but it got me flat on my back. I couldn't continue doing my overdoing. I couldn't continue distracting myself. I was right there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Someone suggested this book called Self-Compassion by Kristen Neff. She has a website and so on. And another book by a Buddhist nun, Pema Chodron. And both of them suggest that we don't speak to ourselves so harshly through our own minds, that we replace it with self-criticism with self-loving thoughts.
Good.
And so fast forward a little, I've been working with that a lot. One day I'm holding my kitty in my arms. It was Murphy. And I was looking at her with such adoration. And I thought, I wonder if God looks at me this way.
Oh my
if God
goodness.
feels that love.
Yes.
And my answer was yes.
Yes, of course. Oh my
It was so beautiful to
You
feel
had a moment, a God moment. I call those the God moments.
Yes, exactly.
And how perfect is that? You're loving Kitty and you got it. See,
Yes.
you got in such
Yeah.
love.
Now, when you mentioned the idea, I think you mentioned the idea of forgiveness, letting go of resentments. I mean, 12-step programs, like resentments are the number one offender. If you don't do all the steps and learn how
We won't heal all the
to
way.
work through a resentment, which is never fun or fast. Sometimes it's fast, but usually it's not too
Depends.
comfortable and long.
Right.
So I was rewatching The Chosen the other
We
night.
just finished the series ourselves. I love that show.
And that scene between, remember, Matthew felt like Simon Peter had been so mean to him. And
Yes.
Simon Peter had a resentment because of the taxes and everything.
Yeah, that was
And he spoke to Jesus about it. And Jesus said, well, what was your part? Why would Simon? That is exactly what we ask ourselves.
Absolutely.
And Matthew started saying, well, I did almost take his boat away. I did almost, which is like the inventory, right? Here's my part.
Yeah.
And I was in 12-step programs, we even go a little farther because I had to admit, like in those relationships, I had been manipulating the men through my behavior to be the way I wanted. And when I left, it was my own self-lies. So I owned for the first time in my first 4-step and 5th step, which is the inventory. The motivation was selfishness.
Wow.
Self-centered fear. If I don't act a certain way in this relationship, it'll end and I'll be alone and I won't be okay. Well, the only relationship we can count on is with God.
Absolutely.
And the people God sends us. It's not always out there. It's often channeled through people.
Yeah.
But anyway, that scene where, Simon, Peter, and Matthew finally have their reconciliation.
And they hug.
It's so beautiful. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And I loved that it didn't happen right away, because one of the things I've been talking about is when there's conflict, right? And that's when resentment comes. And that's when I separate myself from the other person, which is not God's will.
No.
God's will is for me to see.
We isolate sometimes too. And we back away. Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I'm not going to be perfect, okay? I'm a human being. I have my instincts, but I am also a spiritual being trying to overcome most of my human flaws to become more in God's image and
be a good
love God.
Person with God. Yeah.
Yeah. And love one another. So in 12-step programs, it's so perfect because we can have sponsees, people we sponsor to walk through the 12 steps. It's like a unique spiritual privilege to do that, where they're forming their own trust in a higher power along their own path.
Wow.
But anyway, I started to say about the resentments and conflict that I love this saying, well, there's a little rift in a relationship and we hate the discomfort of the rift so much we want to rush to that person or text them or email and try to fix it.
Yes, we want it fixed.
Well, yeah. So I've think about pause. There are other things like this, but P is pause, A, action, until, U, serenity, E, emerges. And there's other ones like that. But the point is,
that's beautiful.
I cannot mend any relationship until I have stepped away, discussed it with another spiritual person, taken it to God, owned my part.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And then I won't come with a hardened heart. And actually, I wrote a second book a couple of years ago. It's called Love More Now. And it's really about opening our hearts, because I think that's what we're here for, to love.
Absolutely,
more
we are. Yeah.
and not shut people out.
No.
So that whole thing of forgiveness and resentments and conflict, which I think is one of the paramount blocks in our lives.
It is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it harms us. It harms us the most. It harms us the most. And we can't be as light and open hearted, like you're
Yes.
saying. You
Yes.
just can't. And
Yep.
your true gifts can't shine. They're like blocks.
Exactly.
You're a dark colored block, and your true colors, the brilliance of ourselves, cannot go out all of the way. And other people get robbed too.
Exactly.
I love it now. See, you're a presenter, you're a retreat leader, now you're an author. You're doing all of these things now to share your healing with others and your skills all in this new space for a while now. That's amazing.
Yes. Well, it's interesting because when we take charge of our thinking and recognize that a lot of it is based on lies, and there's research about the brain neural system and all that, and that's why gratitudeless work, gratitudeless reprogram the
gratitude.
brain. Plus, they bring us closer to God. But the biggest thing I found was when I noticed a negative thought, I could choose to change it. I could say a prayer, or if I was thinking critically, let's say of a political figure, I could say, God bless that person.
Absolutely.
God, you use that person for good,
Absolutely.
as you will. So the idea of being able to observe my thoughts, I mean, most of us aren't even aware what our thoughts are. Okay, we have all these feelings. And
I think our thoughts are us, and they're not. It's
exactly.
not.
And we think our feelings are us.
That too. Large.
You know that saying.
I know that.
Feelings are not facts.
No.
They are generated through our thinking. So the one mega tool, because I have 50 ways, but the biggest one.
I know, I love the tools.
That teaches us to notice what we're thinking. Because if we're unconscious, and how do we become unconscious? Well, over shopping, overdoing, overeating.
Numbing. Yeah.
Just like alcohol.
All that numbs you.
Yeah. Numbs you. So you can't really. So I have learned how I use guided meditations. I went to a meditating thing. Everybody says, oh, I can't meditate. I can't empty my mind. Absolutely true. That's great. We don't have to empty our mind. Meditation is about noticing what my mind is dwelling on and saying, oh, look at you. You're worrying about that conflict with your sister. And then changing the thinking to a prayer, to an image of God, to an affirmation. Thank you, God, for this perfect financial stability, as you will. So the beauty of meditation is that we get practice. The more our mind wanders, the better. Because then we get a chance, oh my gosh, I've been thinking about this conflict I had with Mary. I'm going to notice that. Good for me. Whoa, I'm noticing what my mind's thinking. Now I'm going to switch it back to God or breathing or whatever the meditation is about. Isn't that an incredible power?
It's the power because it's our thoughts that guide our whole life. Our thoughts create what we do. Our thoughts move our body. Its thoughts lead to the action, and our actions, it's making our life, our reality. So whatever reality, and go backwards. And the fact is that when we change our thoughts, we change our life in a good or bad way. And it's powerful. That is powerful.
Very powerful.
Your book has so many strategies and tools. Like, I'm so glad you wrote this book and put it out in the world for us. 50 Ways to Worry Less Now.
Cute.
This is, because it's some books I read a lot. And a lot of books, they've all helped me for good. But some of them just have the first layer of information. And so I'm okay, how do I implement that though? Okay, it's a great truth, but you actually gave the truth, but more of the power, the meat, you unpacked it and you gave the list, you gave the steps and acronyms. I love that. So this has real tools that we can actually, pick your favorite one and do that one first and then practice it until you're good at it. I love
Thank
that.
you so much. Thank you.
And I'm working on all of this. We all are today. So
We
Gigi,
all are.
if I always wrap up with really some questions and things, and you may have mentioned some of them already during our interview, but what is your favorite book and why?
Oh, my favorite book.
And you're a book person like me. I can see all your books back there. That's a hard one to narrow
I'm
down.
just starting to get into the Bible a little bit with the app called Hallow. I
Oh,
love Hallow, Hallow. Up until then, and still ongoing, is A Course in Miracles.
okay.
For me, it's opened me to Jesus in a beautiful
Okay.
way. So I would say yes.
Okay.
Also too.
Wonderful. Do you have a favorite quote or an affirmation?
Yes, and it's in my book. It's the activity of God is the only power at work in my life right now. All false beliefs, all negative appearances are dissolved right now by the loving, forgiving activity of God. I go free to be as God created me.
That is
One of my go-tos.
that is marvelous. I like that as your go-to. Oh my goodness. If you could sit down with anyone from the past or present for a cup of coffee or a soda, who would that be and why?
Marianne Williamson. If it wasn't Jesus, but I can kind of do that in my quiet time. So
I'm shaking my head. I've read her.
Yeah.
She gave
Yeah.
some good information out there.
yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So before we end, I want to make an offer quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the people viewing this, I would be happy to send them a free copy of Worry Less Now. I sell it on my website for $6 because,
Okay.
and then my website is just gigilanger.com. Very obvious. But my printer made extras because they made an error. So I have a lot of extras. I don't mind paying the postage to send it to one of your listeners.
Oh, it's beautiful.
So all they have to do after they listen to this is email me
Contact
with
you.
within the United States. I will ship it to them, an autographed copy.
Oh, that's beautiful, Gigi. Thank you. So, Jump to Joel's podcast listeners or viewer, if you want a free copy of Gigi's 50 Ways to Worry Less Now, email Gigi. You can check her website out. It's gigilanger.com. Those will be in the show notes as well, gigilanger.com. And she'll send you a signed copy. Thank you for that beautiful offer.
Oh,
my
you're
God,
welcome.
I love it. Now, I'm sure if you could talk to your younger self, you would have a lot to say. And I'm sure, so if you could say something to your younger self and or someone at a crossroads right now or in a place of their life and things aren't working, they're hitting the walls, what would you say to them right now?
You are not stuck. You may feel stuck, but you have the power to take actions that will bring you happiness. It's going to take work. It's going to take joining with some other like-minded people. It's going to take finding a higher power.
Yeah.
But you will access the power to find more happiness.
That's beautiful. And yeah. And you know what? There's so much, a lot of folks now are asking questions and they don't want to be numb anymore. So whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, whether it's TV, whether it's shopping, whether it's social media, the scroll, the phone, dancing or going out, partying, whatever it is with guys, there is light. Like every day is meant to be the best life ever. Like we all have a gift to share and don't rob us. Get your gift shared. So yeah, Gigi and I encourage you to ask the question like Gigi did. She showed up and asked someone. If you have questions, go find someone that you can trust. There's so much help out there. Al-Anon, Celebrate Recovery. There's so many other groups. There's online places. And of course, you can get Gigi's books. Go to her website. So Gigi, thank you so much for sharing your heart and your journey with us.
Thanks, Georgette. I'm so glad we met. I loved your book. I highly recommend it. It's so beautiful.
Thank you. This book, Junk to Jules.
Just
you know what? And it's hard. It was vulnerable because I did share the junk. But you know what I learned? If we're not honest and truthful and authentic, it's not really helpful. And I felt like my junk that God did turn to jewels. I really believed I was junk, and that's not true. It was not true. We are beautiful. We are all jewels. We all are a jewel and have jewels within us to share with others. So thank you. And yeah, be brave. So whoever's listening or watching, go take that step. Go take the step for a better. And it's one step at a time, and you can do it. Gigi, thank you. And thank you everyone for watching and listening today.